Howdy, folks. We've got part 4 of 4. This is the completion of the Ernest Tubb documentary that funRonni made a gift to the channel for me to do. I made several gifts, actually, for me to do this. I broke down the hour-long documentary into 4 parts. So these, all of them go into my documentary playlist. And on this one, I backed it up just a little bit, maybe 30 or 40 seconds, just to get Loretta Lynn, who finished the last segment of episode 3. But I said, you know what? funRonni is Loretta's worldwide #1 fan. That's why I'm wearing the Kentucky hat. That's where Loretta is from. Even though this is about Ernest Tubb, Ernest and Loretta did 4 albums of duets together, and this led to this documentary request of Ronnie's. So, in your honor, Ronnie, I backed this up a little bit to get the lady in yellow. All right, guys, here we go.
Out, me and Ernest Tubb. Tickled us to death, to get our first album out, so we took a tour together. And Ernest Tubb and I, we worked all over Texas. Of course, Texas was a big state for me because they'd even play my country records on the pop stations. And we had people lined up all the way, every night, no matter where we worked, they were lined up for a half a mile. And we couldn't get the people in. We'd work 2 shows a night, and sometimes 3. We could not get all the people in the shows. And that was our first big tour together.
3 shows in a night.
We were thrilled to death.
In 1965, Ernest was diagnosed as having emphysema, a disease that would plague him the rest of his life.
Once he made up his mind to do something, he did it. And after he lost one of the members of his band with emphysema due to smoking, Ernest decided to quit. And that's over 10 or 15 years ago, and I feel sure that his life was prolonged at least 5 or 6 years because of this firm decision to quit.
He loved them cigarettes. When he had to give up the cigarettes, he started chewing gum. He'd chew a big pack of chewing gum a day. He'd put it all in his mouth.
Yeah.
He couldn't even talk for that chewing gum. And then I was smoking at that time, and I'd smoke a cigarette in front of him in our seats. He'd grab me around the throat one time. He said, "Green, you can smoke a cigarette better than anybody I ever saw."
Off the stage and out of the studio, only a select few got to see the relaxed Ernest Tubb.
And when you put a golfing cap on him and just a pair of golfing shoes, he really just became kind of like a tourist, or like myself or anybody else that was on the golf course. And I think he enjoyed that. I think it was a getaway for him, sort of.
Absolutely.
Because Ernest was in the spotlight all the time because he was such a individual man.
I'll tell you a cute story on Ernest. We were up in, this was back in the early 60s, and we had a package that used to tour all the time. It was Ernest Tubb, who was the living legend in the business, and had Ray Price and the Cherokee Cowboys, who was one of the hottest acts going with Heartaches for the Numbers and all this stuff. And I had the #1 song in the nation at that time, Pick Me Up on Your Way Down, and then Skeeter Davis had a real hot record. So we were touring all over Canada and up through the north, and we were in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We got in early that morning, and somebody suggested us play golf, so we went out to I think it was the Elks Country Club in Grand Rapids, and we started playing. We played about 3 or 4 holes, and it was kind of hot. It was about noon, and Ernest got thirsty, and there wasn't any water nearby, so but in the fall year, some apple trees there, great big old green apples, yellowish green color. They were ripe, but so he reached up and got one of them, and he peeled it and sat down on a little bench they had there in the golf course, and he took a big bite out of this apple. When he did, the plate, the bottom part of his mouth broke, and he almost panicked, because we had like 3 or 4 more days to go on the tour. And here he ain't gonna look too glamorous with no teeth, out there signing them autographs. So we told him we'd quit and go try to find a dentist. Well, you can't find a dentist anywhere on Saturday afternoon, so Ernest went down to the store and bought him some all-purpose glue and took that plate and glued it back together, set it on the TV set, and for the next 3 days he just drank coffee and soup, But we got through it, and he said when he got home, the dentist told him, he said, "I couldn't have done a better job than you did with that glue."
Real hot summertime, and I had on a pair of Bermuda shorts. Well, he never had seen me with Bermuda shorts on before.
Bermuda.
And I sort of got these jaybird legs, you know, and they looked kind of strange anyway. Well, I was waiting for him out on the golf tee and standing there. Well, he drove up and got out, and he walks over and he looked at me a long time, and he said, your legs swell up that way every summer?
Despite his failing health, Ernest maintained a grueling concert schedule.
That was his church.
The endless miles on the bus were eased by one of his favorite diversions.
Ernest, he loved to play cards and he loved shooting dice. And let me tell you one thing, when he started shooting dice with you, you may as well give him your house, car, and kids and everything else. But he loved that. And if he won your money, somehow or another, you know, if he won the guys in the band's money, well, somehow or another, he'd get it back to him.
The first time we were coming out of Canada, we'd been on a long tour with Loretta, coming out of Canada, and I was married at the time, and my wife went to bed, and I got on Ernest's bus, started shooting dice, and she'd give me about $400 or $500, and I had $300 or $400, and I lost all that money, and I'm sitting there, and Ernest says, what's the matter? And I said, well, I don't have any money. And he told the driver to stop, let me go back and ask Beverly for some more money. I said, you gotta be crazy, man. She's back there, she's sick, she's asleep. I've already lost about $700 or $800. You want me to go wake her up and get more? So he loaned me $100, and I won all my money back, plus I won some more money. And I got home, and we had the same accountant. And I had my accountant write him a check for the $100. I didn't pay him till we got to town. I had him write a check for the $100. And with the check, I wrote a little note that said that I hope he understood that because of me paying him back the money, Beverly wasn't going to get me shoes. I didn't know how we were going to eat. And he wrote me a letter, and I have the letter at home, and I wouldn't take anything for it. It's from the bus of Ernest Tubb. It says, I'm sorry, and you'll never know the tears I cried when I cashed his check. Of course, I stumped my toe on the way into the bank.
Make a long story short, it wound down to where there wasn't but him and I and one other player was left in the pot. Well, I knew Ernest had a big hand. I knew he had a real good hand, but I had a great hand too. Well, I bet, and he raised the pot, and the next guy stayed, and then I raised it back, and Ernest raised it, and the other guy got out. Well, that tickled Ernest because it was just him and I left in the pot. And he said, Pro, this time I got you, boy. I said, well, you probably have. I said, I ain't got much of a hand. I said, I was just staying with you. You need somebody to play with you. And he said, he said, I've got a good hand. He said, I got aces full. He's got 3 aces and 2 8s. And I said, well, I just got 2 pairs. And he reached to get the money, and I said, wait a minute. I said, both pair of them are 9s. And I laid out them 4 9s. Well, he got as big a kick out of me getting it on him as honest to God if it had happened to me, you know. And he laughed about that. He said, I'll never forget that. And we talked and laughed about that a lot of times. And he would walk by me on the Opry for months after this had happened. He said, 2 pair.
In 1974, the Grand Ole Opry moved from the Ryman Auditorium to its new location in Opryland. For some, it lacked the old atmosphere, but Ernest still carried a lot of clout.
I'm kind of a traditionalist, and so I didn't want to move, and I didn't come out here when they moved the Opry. And I guess a year or something went by, and walking through, I was doing a syndicated TV show here in this studio called Pop Goes the Country. And I'd finished taping a part of the show, and I went out through the parking lot. And Ernest was going to his car, and I was going to my car. He says, Tom T? And I said, yes, sir. He said, you got to come back over here and get on the Opry. He said, you belong over here. And he looked me right in the eye. And I couldn't think of a damn thing to say except, yes, sir.
He wielded a big stick,
Ronnie. The 1982 nationally televised All-Star tribute to Ernest, produced by Dick Clark, titled An American Original. The countless unexpected accolades from country music's biggest stars took Ernest totally by surprise.
Really?
He thought he was going to give an award to somebody. And he got there, and the show was all about him, you know.
Wow.
And just seeing him, getting this recognition, it's probably done me. It's done me more good than anything that I've ever done in my career.
I can't even imagine. They set him up. I wonder why they set him up, though. Of course, it makes great story now, and we love seeing that it went this way. But when you're going to plan something, you want to make sure it goes off without a hitch. And if he thinks he's only given an award, it's easier to back out of that at the last minute. You've got the flu. You've got to, legitimately back out of it if you need to. I like that they surprised him.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. You're wonderful. I feel very, very grateful to all these wonderful friends of mine and the great artists that they are. I appreciate each and every one of them so very much. And this is a sort of surprise to me when I got here tonight for the show. Pete Drake, I'm going to kill him yet someday. But it was a wonderful surprise. And I just hope that I deserve half of the nice things that everyone has said about me.
You do.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Troubadours, I guess I'm supposed to do a little singing, so let's waltz across Texas if y'all will, all right?
He's from Crisp.
When we dance together, my world's in disguise. It's a fairyland tale that's come true.
A few times during that performance, why, I could see the real pride and the real Texas troubadour man come out in him. And he told me, he said, you know, I don't feel like I deserve all this. And isn't that amazing that a man could feel that way about himself, you know?
Because he was just being himself.
I'm lost in your charms, and I could waltz across Texas with you. And the little one, Pete Mitchell.
The red hat.
My heartaches and troubles are just up and gone. The moment that you come in view, and with your hand in mine, dear, I could dance on and on, and I could waltz across Texas with you. Waltz across Texas with you in my arms. Waltz across Texas with you.
Even on that special night, it was evident that the years of smoke-filled halls, the rigors of the road, and the irregular lifestyle were finally catching up to
Ernest.
Texas with you.
I noticed he looked thin and his voice seemed a little frail.
He was so sick, and he was having a hard time breathing and having a hard time singing. And as I look back on it now, I didn't realize that night how sick he was. He, as I listen to the tape now, his breathing is very labored, and he did a rendition of Waltz Across Texas that, bless his heart, he just barely made it to the end of the line sometimes.
Really did believe that the show had to go on.
Yeah.
And, when it was getting close to the end, he didn't feel like performing, I know, but he would use his oxygen tank in the wings and then go right out and became the same lovable, personable individual that we all knew him to be.
But one of the last tours that Ernest did, and it was the Jack Roberts tour out in the West and Northwest, and every day I was going to go out on the bus and see him, but I'd watch him work every night. And it was great just being on that tour with him, but I knew that he was sick, and I'd talk to the boys about him and everything. And I purposely didn't go out and spend any time with him on the bus until the last night because it hurt me so bad to see him. And I couldn't believe it, like how the picture on the bus with him and the breathing difficulty he was having, and to go out and sing for the people. It was amazing. He was so great.
I told him when he got well that we would do some more shows together, and he was going to get in my bus, and I said, I'll give you my room. You can stay in my room. And no, I'm not going to take your room. But he was really ready right up till Ernest passed away. He was ready to go back out on the road. He loved it, and I would have took him with me, yeah.
Ernest had fought a long and brave but ultimately losing battle. It was quickly drawing to a close.
In 1984, when he went in for the last time, we didn't know it at the time. I think we all felt it.
I told him, I said, you'll be out here one of these days. We'll be back hacking that golf ball again, you know. And he said, Pro, I don't believe I'm going to make it this time. He said, I don't. He said, I'm really weak.
Ernest reached over and got me by the hand and squeezed my hand and said, don't worry, I'll be all right.
Ernest Tubb means more to me than anybody in this business. I mean, he took a lot of me with him when he went.
I'm hoping and I'm praying.
You called it, Ronnie, when you said people need to know about Ernest.
You gave me Texas and then Tennessee.
I'll let the credits keep playing. Yeah, you did. You called it, Ronnie. You said more people need to know about him, but you could just see how loved and revered he was. He was sincere. He was humble, brash. He was all the personality parts that you want in a man. In a leader, he clearly led the band. He had clear direction. He knew he wanted the hats on the troubadours. And then when the one dude said, I would like to talk to you about maybe us not wearing the hats, the troubadours, and then Ernest said, yeah, absolutely. There's one way that you don't have to wear your hat, that you stop being a troubadour. Okay, message received. We wear the hats. He was a leader, but evidently a very kind soul, not merely to the other stars like Loretta and such, but to the fans. And that's very endearing. It's a beautiful testament to his life. And whether he was a superstar or not, when somebody's that caring and giving, it's so honorable. It's just a beautiful thing. So hats off to Ernest Tubb, to the man that he was, the legacy he left behind, on up to now. This special was done in 87. He passed in 84, which is 41 years ago, and we're still memorializing him and commemorating him via the internet, YouTube, and the channel, courtesy of funRonni. So, Ronnie, thank you for that. I love this. This is just fantastic stuff. So that goes in the documentary playlist. There's lots of other dynamic stuff in there and informational, inspiring stuff in there. All right, folks, you can thank from upstate New York, funRonni for this one. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you on another video and keep rocking the country.
Thank you all. You're wonderful. I feel very, very grateful to all these wonderful friends of mine and the great artists that they are. I appreciate each and every one of them so very much.